She was advising us, get credit cards and max it out, And of course, my got up to 2 credit cards. And but we misused them. I personally didn't use it well. I wasn't using it in an appropriate way. I was maxing it out and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that is not the best way to use it later on, as I would learn later on. And when I started to listen to Dave Ramsey, he is completely against the use of credit card. That's what I learned about him. That's what he called classectomy. He will bring the credit card, and on his show, he will cut it off and say, don't use it. So I bought into that, and I paid off my credit card, and since then I've stopped using credit card. That is a mistake number 1.
Well, that was Dr. Likita Aminu, our first guest on my Financial Missteps series, sharing how he broke some of the credit card commandments. Haven't we all done that? Mm-hmm. His story is no different from most of us, friends. A link to his interview will pop up somewhere on your screen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Getting the card is the easy part. How you use it determines if it builds you a solid financial future or destroys it. Today, we are discussing the 10 credit card commandments.
You heard that right, okay? Yes, credit cards have commandments. Mm-hmm. And we call them commandments simply because if you follow them, you will learn how to use a credit card without paying extra interest, mm-hmm. stay out of debt, earn rewards, and build an excellent credit score. However, if you fail to do so, there are dire consequences.
Welcome to today's episode of Cash Talk. I remain Christine, and my beloved is...
as usual, yours truly, Vidal Wachuku.
Let's get started.
The first credit card commandment is this: thou shalt pay the entire balance on your credit card statement at the end of each billing cycle with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Recall that in one of our episodes, we showed you how your payment history determines 35% of your credit score. And that is the most significant chunk, you remember? Mm-hmm. Payment history includes information about whether you made payments on time, late, or even missed a payment. It also includes collections and bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. Those are things to avoid.
Exactly. And not paying your total balance on all your credit cards. Yes, all your credit cards means paying more interest and you being in debt for longer period. Suppose you bought a phone for $1,000 with your card, but made minimum monthly payments instead of paying in full. Mm-hmm. If you have a 14% annual interest with a 2% minimum payment, it will take you a little over 9 years to complete the payment at $20, which is the 2% minimum per month, and you will end up paying $732.76 in interest. Not paying the full amount would have kept you in debt for 9 years.
Well, thank God for my wife. She's the one that knows how to do that math. I am not good in it. But can you imagine the amount of debt you are going to pay? The amount you owe increases due to this interest, which is compounded daily. Mm-hmm. This is why your balance continues to increase, even if you stop using that card. Yeah. Imagine, wow, paying a whooping $732 in interest for a $1,000 phone. Oh God, Joe. Now, wow, that one's serious. Now, serious matter there. Again, you also increase your credit utilization ratio when you do this. We'll talk about this later. But if you cannot pay the full balance by the due date, you know what? Your credit card debt journey don't begin. Uncle Sam is ready for you. And it will be a challenge to get approved for personal or home loans or even a new credit card if should you need one. Mm-hmm. Not paying the total amount is the perfect recipe to drowning in credit card debt. Mm-hmm. Breaking this first commandment leads you directly to breaking the second commandment, which is,
thou shalt always make a timely payment. Late payments are still part of your credit history. They hurt your credit the most because they stay on your report card for 7 years. Your annual interest rate, APR, can go up as high as 30%. And let's not even talk about the late fee charge. And the most shocking of all, your interest rates on other cards can go up even if you've never had a late payment on them.
wow.
Remember that your payment history makes up 35% of how your credit score is determined and could cause it to drop by 100 points.
I hope we are paying close attention to these commandments. That brings us to commandment number 3, the third commandment, which is, thou shalt not max out your card. Yes, you heard me. Do not max out your card. Remember the mistake our guest Dr. Aminu made. If your credit card has, for instance, a $2,000 limit, and you use it to make purchases of $2,000, you know what you've done? You've maxed it out. You now have $0 left on that card until you've paid up what you've already used. The amount you spend from your card company or from your card compared to the amount the lender makes available to you is what is called the credit utilization ratio. It is generally recommended to spend just about 25% of your credit limit. You recall that was what we were advised when we got our secured card. So with a $2,000 limit credit card, that would just be about $500 that you will spend. Don't go beyond $500.
Yeah, so that was a good way of doing math. So it's not only me that does that.
No, you are the mathematician here.
So maxing out your card will result in a 50-point drop in your score, an increase in your interest rate, a rise in your minimum pay, and a decline in your card for additional transactions. If the 25% cannot cover your expenses, use cash at times or pay off your balance immediately. That's what we did.
Exactly.
Once we purchased up to 25%, we promptly paid it off even before the end of the billing cycle, giving us a fresh opportunity to use another 25%.
You too can do this, my friends. It's just discipline. If you faithfully keep this commandment, you could even later apply for a second credit card with a higher limit to enable you spend more without exceeding that 25%. We never did. I assure you, we never exceeded the 25% on any card. For example, if your expenses grow to $1,000 per month, rather than use the card with the $2,000 limit for a credit ratio of only 50%, get another card with a $5,000 limit. When you spend $1,000 from that card, it will be less than the 25%. Okay? Thereby keeping your credit ratio low to that 25%. Remember the first commandment always. We always come back to it. Pay it off at the end of the billing cycle.
Yes, so if you're watching and you have not yet subscribed and you're finding this helpful, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, right? So that you're the first to know when we post any new videos. So the fourth commandment is thou shalt keep your cards for as long as possible. The longer an account, the more valuable it is for your credit score. Remember, how long you have been using a card makes up 15% of how your score is determined. Don't be quick to close accounts or cut up your cards as Dave Ramsey suggests. You heard what Dr. Aminu said, especially if you plan to make a big purchase within months that may require a loan. For example, maybe you want to get a home or a car. Note also that canceling a credit card can lead to a drop in your score.
Remember, that's what happened when I wanted to close our second account. They advised me, don't do it.
Yep.
Okay? Now, here's the fifth credit card commandment. You shall have at most 2 to 3 credit cards. My people, I have broken this commandment because I have too many cards. The only thing is that I've been disciplined in their use. I've never run into any trouble. So the truth is that having too many credit cards can lead to a great temptation to overspend, exceed your credit limit, sink faster into debt, and even pay more interest. And it's harder to keep track of all your expenses. Also, each time you apply for a card, there is always a credit check which lowers your score. You want to avoid that because a new credit history inquiry makes up 10% of what determines your credit score.
Right. The 6 commandments: thou shalt generally avoid credit cards with annual or other fees. Do you spend enough to afford the rewards of an annual fee card? If not, stay away from them. Some cards charge a foreign transaction fee. Before you swipe that card for a foreign transaction, be sure it is worth paying the 1 to 3% fee. And that's why we love using our Discover card for foreign transactions. Yes. 0 fees. Another card without this fee is Capital One.
Now, the 6th commandment here includes avoiding late payments, payment fees, cash advance fees, a card that does not have a grace period to pay off your balance, payment of a fee for using an out-of-network ATM or withdrawing money from a bank or credit union with your card, otherwise known as an over-the-counter withdrawal. Most are not aware their credit card company charges this fee. But let me quickly also tell us here that our very first unsecured credit card came with an annual fee. So we are working towards, we've had it for almost 13 years now. We're going to work towards reversing that.
Yes.
But that was our very first unsecured credit card.
Yes. So if you already have credit cards, check them. Do they come with any of these fees? If they do, you could call to negotiate a fee waiver. For example, the annual fee. Explain your situation and how long you've had the card, and that you're considering canceling the card. You could switch to a no-fee card with the same company if they disagree. Remember, you don't want frequent credit checks, so do not use a different company.
And that brings us to the 7th commandment, which is, thou shalt think twice about getting a retail store credit card. Those are very easy to get.
Yeah.
But however, they don't give you a big credit limit. They are usually low. So by the time you have a store credit card that has about $500 on it, and you use $400 out of that, what have you done? You've used 90% already of the credit limit. That is why, and really that is way over the 25% that you should use with your card so that it doesn't hurt your score. Remember, 30% of your credit score is determined by how much you owe. They also have high interest rates. I mean, the retail cards have high interest rates, especially if you don't pay your balance in full each month. That can add up quickly and make it harder to pay off your credit card debts.
Retail store credit cards limit where you can use them. For the most part, you may be able to use these cards for groceries or in other stores. They are mostly limited to that store you got the card from. Remember, applying for them will open up credit inquiries that put a dent on your credit score, because such inquiries make up 10% of your credit score. We didn't know this. So when we first got here and we go to retail store and they offer us card, we're so happy. We just say yes. We didn't know it was hurting our history.
Yeah. Now, the 8th commandment is, thou shalt use your credit card rewards program. The program typically offers cashback, points, or travel miles for every dollar you spend. Please enjoy the reward for spending your hard-earned money. Turn on the reward program. I love it when I use points to make purchases at Amazon. It's like free money. But only obey this commandment when you also obey the very first. Paying your statement balance in full each cycle. If not, your interest charges could make this reward turn to sour grapes in your mouth.
And that's not good for your teeth. The next is the 9th commandment, which is, thou shalt negotiate for a lower annual interest rate, which is the APR. A lower APR means less interest charge. Who doesn't want to save money? The Bible says, ask and you shall receive. So call your credit card issuer and ask for a reduced rate. If they say no, then go on and ask for a temporary break. It might work in your favor if you have had this account for long. But if you've never intend to pay interest on your cards by faithfully obeying the first commandment, who cares what the APR is?
Exactly. If you are paying off, it doesn't matter what it is. However, the 10th commandment is this. Remember to monitor your credit cards with the eyes of an eagle. Keep very close tabs on your cards. Regularly check them to ensure there are no unauthorized withdrawals or expenses, particularly if you're in the habit of using trial offers that have a terminal date. Ensure to cancel before the end of the trial unless you intend to purchase. I once forgot to do this, and you know the consequence? It was almost a $500 bill I was going to pay. When I saw it, I panicked and I quickly went in there and I was able to cancel it and got a reversal. Can you imagine $500 for something I didn't really need?
Yeah. So without knowing how the credit card works and faithfully following its commandments, most immigrants end up not only in huge debts that turn their dreams into nightmares, but also make them unable to obtain loans when a real need to make significant purchases arises. Knowing and applying this commandment can save you hundreds to thousands of dollars, especially when you need a loan to buy a home, a car, or other important purchases.
My fellow immigrants, it is possible to keep these commandments. We know because we have kept them and have never been in credit card debt, nor paid interest for nearly 13 years in this country. Usually we would joke amongst ourselves and tell ourselves that we know the credit card companies are not happy with us at all because they have not got a dime in interest from us, nor any debt because we don't owe them.
Yes, and it's possible for you too. So to understand all we have said here a bit better and apply the same, we recommend you watch this video more than once. Above all, if you found these commandments helpful,
subscribe now. Subscribe, like this video, comment, let's interact, and you know what, share it. Hit that notification button so that you are the first to know when we release a new video. Come on, let's help each other. Let's help our newbies. Let's help even those that have been here before. A lot of people that we have interacted with have said they did not even know some of these things, and they've been here for donkey years. You heard Dr. Aminu refer to it when he even said that.
yes.
So my friends, share.